Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. And today's episode is brought to you by the Locked On Big Ten Podcast, because there's simply no better place to get all the news on the Big Ten Conference than with the Locked On Big Ten Podcast and its new host, Mr. Nate Dickinson. Follow the Locked On Big Ten Podcast on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your fine podcasts. It is Monday, August 9th in the year 2021. And no matter if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube or WKYC.com, I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes a part of your day. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JStevens07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well at Locked On Buckeye. Lined up for today, we're going to highlight and discuss the approach that Demario McCall is taking into his 6th year at The Ohio State University. Wrap up the show talking about what Buckeyes you can follow and watch during this year's NBA Summer League games. But we open the show highlighting and talking about the very first player from the 2021 recruiting class to lose his black stripe during fall or preseason camp. Some call it fall camp. Some call it preseason camp. I almost said back in my day. I'm not that old, but back in my day when two-a-days were a thing and medical staff and medical doctors weren't afraid of two-a-days, we called it two-a-days. That's literally what it was. High school athlete. You play at one practice, 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, go about 2.5 hours, take a break, go right back out there. You don't want to get out there when it's hot, but it's two-a-days. You know it's going to be hot. That's what you did. Get the heat in August. It's two-a-days, preseason camp, fall camp. And the black stripe that people hear about, you see black stripe alert. What does that mean? Urban Meyer mentioned something or implemented something back when he took over as the head coach at The Ohio State University. You're an incoming freshman. You're an incomer. You may be a transfer. You have to prove to your peers and your coaches that you have what it takes to be a Buckeye. Yes, you have what it takes to get an offer and to get a scholarship offer for some. Maybe you're preferred to walk on and you are going that route. But you still have to prove by your play, by your play on the field in practice, by your work ethic in the weight room, by your work ethic in the film room, by being a good teammate. You have to show and prove that you have what it takes to be an Ohio State Buckeye. Mr. Denzel Burke, the very first recipient, first individual to lose his black stripe during fall camp. Denzel Burke is a defensive back, number 29, from Scottsdale, Arizona. Went to a prep school before transferring to Saguaro High School. Played defensive back and wide receiver in high school. He was a 4-star recruit, number 3 recruit in the state of Arizona in the 2021 class, number 10 ranked athlete in the same recruiting class. Now, you may want to say, Jay, what does that mean, athlete? Denzel Burke, he plays DB, he plays receiver. If he just played receiver, he would be an athlete. If he just played quarterback, he would be an athlete. So the athlete category is for those that play multiple positions, and they can go either way, and they're a highly recruit at both spots. So Steele Chambers played running back and linebacker in high school. I believe he was classified as a running back. However, if you look at a scouting report on 247 Sports, it does highlight that he played linebacker and that he could play either one at the next level. Some guys are just one position or the other when they play both. This gentleman right here, JT Tuamaloau, he played both tight end and he played D lineman in high school. He, on his recruiting report or recruiting databases, rivals ESPN, 247 Sports, Scout, even Orange3.com, which is new. They all have him as a defensive lineman, which is what he's expected to be at The Ohio State University. Denzel Burke, 6'1", 192-pound young man. Ran a 4.7240. I believe it was at the opening, one of those off-season camps that kids go to all around the country. I believe that was where he ran that 4.7240, a 32-inch vertical jump. A few things that jump off the screen at me when watching this young man play. He is a fluid athlete, and that may be something that you would expect when you hear he's a wide receiver and a defensive back. Some guys play both ways out of necessity. When I played football, there were numerous players that played both ways out of necessity. My sophomore year was a lot of that. My junior year, they kind of went away from that. And the senior year, they were not trying to do that at all, but some guys still did. I remember one guy, he played fullback and defensive tackle. I remember one guy, he played running back or fullback, and he played linebacker. One guy played linebacker, and he was like the third-string running back. One guy played running back and safety, but eventually his main position was running back. The quarterback only played quarterback that year. I know one guy, he was a sophomore starting varsity with a heavy loaded group of gentlemen. He only played defensive tackle. So some guys, even nowadays, when people are trying to specialize and somewhat professionalize at an early age, some of these young men play both ways, and that is what the case was for Mr. Denzel Burke. He's a fluid athlete. He could thrive on both sides of the ball at the next level, kind of honed on and made it clear that he's going to be a DB at Ohio State. He has good ball skills. He was an early enrollee, one of 14 recruits that enrolled early in the 2021 class. His major is finance. The other individuals that have already lost their black stripes this year, one I already mentioned was an individual that got hurt last season, didn't get the chance to lose his black stripe. Mr. Jacob Cowan, he's a D lineman, lost his black stripe first during spring practice on April the 2nd. The other 6, I believe, lost their black stripe. They are a part of the 2021 recruiting class. Marvin Harrison Jr., Jack Sawyer, Travion Henderson, Emeka Ekabuka, Reed Carrico, and now Denzel Burke. Some of you may be asking and wondering, Jay, where is JT Tuimoloau's name, and how soon do you think that Quinn Ewers will lose his black stripe? Well, JT Tuimoloau has only had less than a week of practice under his belt, didn't commit to Ohio State until the 4th of July after he went through 4 of the 5 scheduled official visits, canceled the one to go to the Alabama Crimson Tide, didn't rule that one out, ultimately committed to Ohio State, but he hasn't been around enough. I don't think enough conditioning, enough of Nick Mariotti's strength and conditioning program, and enough practices to have a chance, well, to hit the mark, I believe, for him to lose his black stripe. And then Quinn Ewers, he ain't on campus. I don't know how soon it will happen, but if I had got to go out on a limb, let's just say he goes to practice. They're thinking this week, but let's just say he goes to practice and enters practice on the 12th. Do I think that he'll lose his black stripe on the 26th of August? Probably not. Do I think he'll lose his black stripe September 2nd, by the first game of the year? Highly unlikely, but it could happen. I'll leave it at that. Let's step away very quickly. When we come back, we'll talk about Demario McCall and his approach to his 6th year at The Ohio State University. But first, check this out. Do you know 85% of people who play daily fantasy sports lose? Is it really that surprising? The game is rigged against you. You're playing against thousands of other lineups, not to mention experts who have more tools and more time. You don't stand a chance. Introducing Stat Hero. It's the first ever daily fantasy sports book that puts the player in control and winning within reach. Here's how it works. Stat Hero shows you their lineups and dares you to beat them. It's you versus the house in a head-to-head fantasy matchup. You name your stakes, winner take all. You have the advantage. Stat Hero is showing you their lineups ahead of time. No one else does that. You are in control. Stat Hero is daily fantasy sports the way it was meant to be. 1-on-1. Play Stat Hero now and change the odds. Go to stathero.com/locked-on. Sign up for free, and right now you can get 3 times back on your first play. They're giving you a 300% match. That's unheard of. Go to stathero.com/locked-on. Once again, that's stathero.com/locked-on. If this is your first time listening or watching Locked On Buckeyes, I want to say welcome. Or if this is your first time in a long time, Jay wants to say welcome back. Locked On Buckeyes drops a fresh new episode for you every Monday through Friday. And as we found out on Friday last week, sometimes there are technical difficulties where audio is going to be the only way the show will get out. So I highly encourage you to subscribe on the Odyssey app, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, so you don't miss a beat. Just in case the show doesn't hit the YouTube, you always have a way to catch that show, the audio version. Subscribe on YouTube as well. No matter which way you want to go, watch or listen, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a beat. Demario McCall, sixth-year player. It's a long time to be in college. That's a long time to play football at one place. That's a long time to be at a place when you have not started one game at Ohio State. That's a very, very, very long time. Think about something that you have done for a very long time where you are an individual that has been highly sought after. You were someone that had a lot of high hopes. You were someone that people expected you to potentially have the chance to be very, very good at your craft, but for some reason you got there and things didn't go like you expected them to. Demario McCall, when he came to Ohio State, highly sought after. There were a lot of high hopes for him. Now, if you go back a little bit, this is an Urban Meyer recruit. Zach Smith was his coach back then, and I do think that Urban Meyer and Zach Smith, they had big plans for Demario McCall. I firmly believe that Demario McCall had a great chance, had a great shot to really be a key piece in Urban Meyer's offense in that halfback position that Urban Meyer had in that offense back then. Now, Ryan Day has transitioned that to the slot, different responsibilities, different skill set, more route running, not so much of the scattered or, remember, go back, Percy Harvin type of plays or KJ Hill type of plays. I don't know why my name is going, my Curtis Samuel. That's what I was thinking about, but I said KJ Hill first. All those type of plays you saw those guys run, those are some of the plays that were kind of ideal for a Demario McCall athlete. Demario McCall, however, has not been able to put things together. He has not been able to put the pieces of the puzzle together to be an individual that lived up to the hype. Demario McCall, to me, is still someone that I expect to be a kickoff returner. Not sure if we'll see him back at the punt return. I do think Garrett Wilson kind of has that down on lock, but if you pull Garrett Wilson out, Demario McCall in, I do think he is that shifty type of individual. He is that shifty type of player to where he can be very, very good in those ways. Demario McCall's approach to this season, an individual that stands at 5'9", 195 pounds, has 20 catches on his career, running back / wide receiver, but has 20 catches on his career, only 300 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, 8 total touchdowns on his career at Ohio State, 110 touches between rushes and receptions, and 865 total yards. That's a really good season reception-wise for somebody, but for Demario McCall hasn't put it together, but his approach to the season is not one where he is saying, hey, I'm going to fold up shop. I'm just going to throw in the towel. I'm going to be on the team. He's never thought about leaving Ohio State. He's going to be on the team. He's going to be somebody that the coaches can lean on for leadership, that the youngsters can look up to get guidance when they need some guidance. And he is somebody that we might see play DB, cornerback, might play a little receiver, might play a little more running back right now, 5'9", not really ideal for Ryan Day's mindset for the slot position. But we may see a little mix and match. He might be a player that plays all 3 facets and area of the game and is very good at it. I have to commend Demario McCall. 1, for sticking it out. 2, for never having the thought not so much this, but sticking it out goes with the fact that he has never had the thought or mindset to transfer from The Ohio State University. Why? It's such a special place. But I also got to give him a little credit because in many places, many people's minds, they would give Demario McCall the right to go off, the right to go against the leadership, the right to transfer as soon as Urban Meyer left. Because why? Ryan Day's offense is different. We have seen more of an emphasis on the quarterback being able to throw all the throws, the quarterback being able to make a lot of decisions himself, not so much the read option stuff that we saw with JT Barrett so much, or the design quarterback runs, which were very predictable. We're seeing a different mindset, a different philosophy from the head coach Ryan Day. Kevin Wilson not being someone that is playing co-OC duties or only doing tight end duties. He's mixing in with the tight ends, yes, but he is also the sole and the only offensive coordinator on the team, something that I think hurt Ryan Day, hurt Ohio State last year when they had when Kerry Combs played both D coordinator and he played DB coach. I think that hurt Kerry Combs last year. I know during Urban Meyer's tenure, there was Kevin Wilson and another OC. The name escapes me. Some of you probably remember who that was, and you might not like who the individual was. The co-OC, co-DC, even if you have the money for it, multiple voices trying to coordinate one thing at that time, at that level, I don't think it's wise. You don't see that in the National Football League. I'm not sure why you see that at some schools at the college football level. Demario McCall keeping that positive attitude is going to allow him to be a better leader than it would be if his attitude was sour, was poor, was embarrassing, one that his mama would not be very proud for him to have. His attitude is key. His approach to the season is key. Him keeping level-headed, smiling in these press conferences while receiving these questions about him being at Ohio State. Hand clap, young man. Hand clap, young man. A lot of adults would not be able to do that, wouldn't even think about doing that. A lot of adults, when pushed to adversity, when their back's against the wall, they fold up shop, they throw in the towel, they say no mas, and they move on. Proud of you. Proud of you, Demario McCall. Looking for big things this year, and I do expect you to have a big season in the return game and a big season when you're on the field, no matter if you're playing offense or defense. Step away one more time. When we come back, we will discuss where you can watch former Buckeyes play in the NBA Summer League games. But first, check this out. Did you know the Built Bar has 9 delicious flavors plus the occasional limited time flavor as well? When you talk to a Built Bar fan, they're definitely passionate about their favorites. If you don't know the Built Bar flavors, well, you're definitely missing out. Coconut and coconut almond, both are amazing. Cherry, raspberry, mint brownie, peanut butter brownie, double chocolate, and even salted caramel. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy too. 17 to 18 grams of protein, only calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and even only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Go to built.com and use that friendly promo code LOCKED15, LOCKED15, and you will get 15% off your next order. Once again, go to built.com and use that friendly promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Bet online is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can track all the action at Bet Online. Get all the latest news, odds, and info for all your sporting needs, including MLB, NBA, NHL, and all your UFC/MMA action. Before the next pitch, head over to betonline.ag on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and even contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, as this is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoffs. Head to betonline.ag on your laptop or mobile device to sign up today. And when you do, make sure you use that friendly promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, and it's all one word to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet Online, your online sports book experts. And as we wrap up today's episode here of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day, We're looking to the NBA. Some call it the association, the full name, the National Basketball Association. This year's NBA schedule has been boom, 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 boom. Even as I mentioned it with Scott Agnes from the Fieldhouse Files, who covers the Indiana Pacers, as he talked about Dwayne Washington Jr. last week. If you missed that, go back and check that out. It's right there. It was an audio-only episode due to some technical difficulties. But as I mentioned with Mr. Scott Agnes, the NBA season, man, oh man, started off weird, late. All-Star game, late. The playoffs started late. The finals started late. We're late in July instead of June. We just had the NBA draft, just had free agency hit, and everybody got some money. And all of a sudden now, the NBA Summer League is underway. There are a few Buckeyes I'm sure you'll want to watch in the NBA Summer League games. Number one, DJ Carton. Only played 1 year at Ohio State, transferred to Marquette. Played 1 year at Marquette, and now he is with the Charlotte Hornets. He signed an Exhibit 10 deal with the Hornets, giving him an opportunity to attend training camp with a chance at earning a two-way deal or play for the team's G League affiliate in Greensboro, North Carolina. He will be playing with the Charlotte Hornets during this year's Summer League games. DJ Funderburk, he never played an official minute for Ohio State. Funderburk redshirted during the 2016-2017 season before being dismissed from the program, spending a year at a JUCO, junior college, and playing 3 years at NC State or North Carolina State. You can watch and follow Mr. DJ Funderburk with the Utah Jazz. Micah Potter, like DJ Carton, Micah Potter started his career at Ohio State, transferred, and now went undrafted before signing an Exhibit 10 contract, giving you a chance to work out with the G League team, have a chance to go a little two-way deal. That's amazing for him. Micah Potter, some of you might not like him because he finished his career at Wisconsin. I wish he was with Ohio State last year because I do think it would have been a help for their team versatility-wise. But Micah Potter will be playing with the Miami Heat. Dwayne Washington Jr. talked about him last week. He's with the Pacers. Signed a two-way deal. The Pacers begin Summer League play. Would have been a day ago. Unfortunately, due to health and safety protocols, that game got canceled. So now Indiana, the Pacers will be playing on Tuesday against the Atlanta Hawks tomorrow at 6 p.m. They go against Portland 2 days later, and then they face off against the Oklahoma City Thunder on August the 14th at 6 p.m. All of the games will be played in Las Vegas, and the latter games, probably the games I mentioned at the very end, will be played on the ESPN2. Last but not least, Caleb Wesson with the LA Clippers. The Westerville South product was initially expected to participate in the basketball tournament this summer before withdrawing because he agreed to play for Portland in the Summer League. He was announced as a member of the Trailblazers roster, but now will play for the Clippers. You got Funderburk, you got Wesson, you got Washington Jr., you got Potter, and you got DJ Carton. Numerous Buckeyes, plenty of Buckeyes to follow, plenty of Buckeyes to watch, and this is an exciting year. We got fall camp right now. You got former Buckeyes trying to play basketball in the NBA, playing in the Summer League, trying to scratch and claw, hopefully not bite, trying to get that deal, trying to get some more money in their pocket and keep their basketball careers going forward in the States. If they don't work in the States, they can always go outside of the States to continue playing basketball professionally. Guys, this has been fun. Guys, I'm excited for the week. Check-in was yesterday for the Ohio State Buckeye football team during fall camp, and things are about to get heated up, ramped up, and I know many of you are going to be watching Mr. Quinn Ewers. I've said it before. I'll say it again. This is exciting for him, a decision he has made about his future. Money was a big motivating factor, a big deciding factor in that. We're going to see exactly what this young man is made of very, very soon. You can follow me on Twitter at jsteven07. You can also follow the podcast on the Twitter as well at Locked On Buckeye. And one quick reminder, betting on the Ohio State Buckeyes doesn't have to be a guessing game. If you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling, get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's Lock of the Day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast brought to you by betonline.ag wherever you get your fine podcast. Go Bucks!